And today, it's the first episode of my podcast. And this series of episode, I am going to talk about how I did my first year of freelancing. This is a topic that I prepare for my Toastmasters speech preparation, and I am very courageous to do this within 3 days of accepting this speech. And yes, and it's going to be a long podcast, which will be about 60 minutes, and I'm going to cut down into maybe 5 episodes of 10 minutes. Okay, so the first episode here is I will talk about how I start my freelancing journey 3 years ago in around 2020, the end of 2022. So that's not even 3 years. It's about 2.5 years. So I prepared this presentation for you, and here you can see it's the leap to freedom, my freelance journey. And see, I prepared a very beautiful photo I found online, and I want to tell you why I started. Okay, so here's my story, and let's dive in. So first, about jumping off my comfort zone. What does that mean is I used to work for big corporations, and my professional life was very interesting and very remarkable. I had a lot of good records in my life. So I was living a comfortable, predictable corporate structure. I spent a decade in marketing and communications and primarily in finance and tech. Finance. And Actually, this is produced by AI, so not really in commercial goods, but actually in like automobile finance, and also I did some sort of international trading. Okay, and then the trigger moment was that I think my life is in a some kind of a distinct moment that I feel a lot of doubt. Okay, and I felt fatigue, and I was having all this delusion that I may not be able to achieve a lot in life, and especially when I'm getting older. Now I'm 51, so at that time I started to do the freelancing work. I was about 48. So I just want to be with my family and my children. At the same time, I want to make money because, I have 3 children, right? So how can you afford all this spending per month? And not to mention that I want to take my children abroad to study, to study abroad, to have good education in the universities. So I was having all this doubt, okay? At that time, I didn't know what to do, but at least I started trying to learn or how to work at home and study all these methods on my own, and trying to acquire some kind of skills. So, but of course, it's difficult, but I always come back to my dream, how I vision myself. So I vision myself freedom and flexibility, like the freedom to be with my family, the freedom of time, and possibly the freedom of money, right? And also, I was trying to envision myself as having flexibility in my life, such as flexible hours and maybe more control of what I want and what kind of customers I want, and what kind of life I want. I have a lot of ideas in my mind, and I want some kind of life that is work and life balance, right? And I want to spend more time for my personal pursuit, and of course my well-being, my wellness. Then I thought about working at home and trying to find customers online. That's my first thought. But navigating through the unknown is difficult, right? Because there are a lot of anxiety that you cannot see. I mean, they may be under the iceberg. There may be a lot of opportunities, but above the iceberg over here, like the period one, there's a lot of doubt. So I had a lot of anxiety and I have money issues. I don't know how to get money. And then I had problems trying to acquire clients, like client acquisition, and what kind of role I should take, or having being a role of a mother and being a role of a worker, or being a role of an assistant for some to some big bosses. So I have also having some identity issues. Okay. And I also have long-term risk if by the age of 48 and I do not have a long-term career ahead of me, what what would that be, right? And I was getting anxious of all that. But you see, when you are at this kind of moment of feeling doubts, you have to always go back to your vision. Okay, so if you envision yourself having freedom and flexibility, then all these problems that came um, come afterwards, like maybe income instability, like unstable income. You have a lot of money this month, and then you make zero income next month, and you don't know how to find clients. Maybe you have one big client, and you thought all the clients will be like as good as this one, but that's not right, right? So you have to keep finding customers, keep acquiring customers. And there's always the doubt of having wear so many hats. Do you know the meaning of wearing so many hats on you? Like you have different identity, right? People think of you as a mother or a salesperson or assistant or anything, a wife or a daughter-in-law or a real daughter. I'm my father's daughter. So I have all these woman's roles and I'm wearing all these hats on me. I was exhausted. Okay. And the funny thing is, I mean, the most difficult thing is all these reactions from my friends, my family. I mean, look at this photo I found online. They were like, huh? Uh, oh. Okay, so people from my inner circle, they always um, doubt. They will say things like, "Oh, are you sure about this?" They're all skeptical of what I do. Okay, skeptical means they have doubts and they question you. Okay, and they will say, "Oh, what about your benefits? Corporate benefits, and if you leave your job and I mean, work as a freelancer, you don't get paid every month. I mean, think of all the comfort, okay, and working in the corporate, all those stabilities, and my decision becomes very thrilling for them. Okay, they think I'm just rebellious, rebellious. You know what that means is you're not a good kid. So, anyways, then I decided to leap off all this, okay? Leap into action. Like I want to really do something. I mean, to really do something. Oh, I really like this photo of I found online. Like I want to go somewhere and jump and I look for freedom. So what I do is I look at photos and trying to empower myself. So I also listen to inspiring speeches, or I watch inspiring articles, and I watch inspiring videos, and I read inspiring books, or even some of the good quotes from famous people. Like this is from Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, he said that the biggest risk is not taking any risk, right? Okay, so if you don't take any risk, that's your biggest risk. So in a world that's changing really quickly, the only strategy for you is guaranteed to fail if you're not taking risk. Okay, so take risk is the most important thing. So this quote really inspired me. Okay, you see, in the corporate world, everything is stable, and this stability is growing like a stagnant. Okay, so the true risk for me is not pursuing a life that I can thrive creatively and independently to freedom and flexibility. See that my vision here? Freedom and flexibility. Okay, so that's it. I told you about the struggle. So next episodes, I will tell you more about my first year of freelancing.